let's go to Paris! So this weekend, my partner and I are taking off a long weekend to go to Paris. If you are new here, my name is Angela. I'm an American living in London. I recently moved here in February. So I moved to the UK in February of this year, and then we moved to London in May of this year. I am also a writer who is working on a dark academia fantasy novel, and I am training for a marathon, and also I just love to read books, and this channel is mostly about what it's like to live in London, as in like London's literary scene, as well as books that I read, books that I think you all could enjoy reading, and my writing journey. This video then is a little bit, like it might seem a little bit off because we are going to a different city than London. I really wanted to create this, one, as a way to inspire you all about how I'm kind of like fitting in my hobbies and passions even on vacation, and then two, to hold myself accountable to actually do those things. And obviously a really big disclaimer here. If you go on holiday, you don't have to work on your novel, you don't have to work out, you don't have to do like any of those things. Take the time that you need. Rest is productive. I just know for me, we have another trip coming up that I want to like fully unplug pretty soon. So I want to make sure I'm still making progress on my novel writing goals. I'm currently training for a marathon, the Valencia Marathon in December, and that means that I really can't stop running. I am decreasing my running, hopefully, over this long weekend, especially because we will be walking probably a lot, but I still need to get that running in. And so I have to run. I really want to make sure I make some time for writing, and then as well, we're taking the Eurostar from London to Paris, and I want to make sure that I read a bit on the Eurostar. Right now I'm reading An Academy for Liars, which I just started last night. It's a dark academia fantasy, but the beginning actually kind of jarred me how set in our world it is. So it's kind of a low fantasy, I guess. And then my audiobook right now is The Dead Romantics by Ashley Poston. I am a huge Ashley Poston fan, and this is the last book by her that's out currently that I haven't read yet, which is like bittersweet because this means I'm gonna have no new books from her to read until her next one comes out. But if you like kind of like magical realism contemporary, highly recommend checking out Ashley Poston. As I said though, trying to read, write, and run while on vacation is a lot. It is not going to be easy, and we shall see how I manage it. But right now, let's go catch the train. Happy Saturday! So it is now officially day 2 in Paris. Yesterday we went to Versailles, which was so gorgeous. Like one of the most gorgeous palaces I've ever visited. 100% worth the hype. If you don't know, it was like built by the Sun King in like the Renaissance, and is like a really good example of like really just grandiose Renaissance Enlightenment era palaces, and it's huge. So we spent the entire day there. We were honestly concerned there wouldn't be enough to do, but until you do the palace, the gardens, and then like the little palace and the like fairy tale village that Marie Antoinette designed, until you do all 4 of those things, it's basically your entire day. I was honestly just so inspired, and low-key now I'm considering if I should like write a Versailles inspired or Versailles themed romantasy novel, because it would be such a great setting and such just like lush grandeur. And I've never read a romantasy novel set somewhere like that, so I'm really highly considering it. But today my partner's actually surprising me with, he found a couple of different like bookstores and book sites that we're gonna go and see today, and I will take you all along with us, and then of course just see the sights of Paris as well. So I am really excited about that. This morning we went for a run, so checking that off the list. I was supposed to write tomorrow and then run again on Monday, but we're gonna try to do both of those on Monday. We'll see how that goes, because my partner's parents, this is so nice, surprised us with a trip to like Disneyland Paris tomorrow. I've never been. My partner went when he was a kid, but hasn't been recently, so we're both really excited to explore Disneyland. And then I guess as well, a quick reading update. The Academy of Liars is like a dark academia fantasy novel. So I was a little bit nervous going into it because it doesn't have the best rating on like Goodreads and Storygraph, which I know doesn't say everything, but I find a lot of the books I enjoy have like over a 4-star rating. And this one was like, I think like 3.05 stars. And the beginning is a little jarring because it's written in like almost like a Mona Awad style of writing, very similar to kind of like Bunny and different like lit fic novels about just like women going insane. And so I would say that's kind of the style, but then the story obviously incorporates a lot of fantasy elements, so it's kind of like a mash of those two genres. So I can see how maybe people who are fans of literary fiction wouldn't love the fantasy, and fans of fantasy wouldn't love the literary fiction. But I was super nervous when I started reading it myself about how these things are going to go together, but I think the author has done just such a good job. I'm about 50% into the book, hoping to finish it on this trip, and there's so many things I didn't think would work together. The author just made work so perfectly, and so I'm really enjoying this book, especially once I got past like maybe the 10% point, then I really started enjoying it, and it honestly is super unique, and unlike any other fantasy book I've read, at least as of now, I highly recommend. So we started off our day at the Louvre and walking around just some of the iconic sites, and then we went to a little bookish cafe. And I tried to find the name of this cafe for the life of me and couldn't, but it was really cute, but probably not the most useful to you all. And then we went to a bookstore called San Francisco Bookstore. Like Shakespeare and Company, this bookstore has a ton of books in English. And then we went to La Petite Palace. Probably completely mispronouncing that, but it's a free art museum, and it had this really gorgeous book exhibit. After that, we went to my favorite stop on our bookish literary tour, and that was the National Library of Paris, or yeah, that was stupid. The National Library of France, that's the name of the country. And it is free to visit the reading room. You can also work from here. I was blown away by this reading room. A moment of silence for just how gorgeous it is. And then the next day, we just went to Disneyland Paris. As a lot of people have said before, the rides in Disneyland Paris aren't as good as Disney World and Disneyland, but the decor was so gorgeous and so whimsical, and we had the best time. It is now Monday, it's our last day in Paris, and spoiler alert, I don't know why I'm saying spoiler alert because we're really far into the video at this point, but I got no writing done on this trip. I was able to get 2 runs in, which is pretty great. At the beginning of the video, I said I wanted to get 2 runs in and 1 writing session in. I went for a run on Saturday and then again this morning. What I did that was really helpful with the running is I went to places that are really iconic and fun to run. So for example, this morning we ran past the Eiffel Tower and down through the park that's near the Eiffel Tower. So I think sometimes things like running and writing are really hard to do on vacation because they can still feel like work, even though they are like fun work, if that makes sense. And I think just trying to get the runs in and the writing in wasn't great. If I was going to redo this, 1, I would probably not do it during marathon training, and then 2, I would find like a really fun, cool unique place to write, such as the National Library that we went to on Saturday, which was absolutely gorgeous. And it's insane that it's free for anyone to go in and for anyone to use, regardless of if you're a Parisian citizen or French citizen or have a library card there. And then today we are just going to go to Montmartre, which is one of my favorite neighborhoods in Paris, and my partner's actually never been before. It's one of those like really iconic neighborhoods that just has absolutely gorgeous buildings. And then it just so happens that one of my friends who I made while traveling, I met her in Oaxaca, and she's from New York, but she just happens to be like in Paris right now at the same time. So we're going to meet up with her for drinks. It was just such a fun coincidence. So that's basically all we have planned today, is just to kind of be lazier, take it slow, and just really enjoy a cute neighborhood, maybe get some coffee somewhere or a glass of wine, and just enjoy the rest of our trip. We are now back in London, which is bittersweet because I do love the city, but coming back from reality after Paris is always a bit of a tough adjustment. But I just was kind of reflecting on this weekend and how much writing I hoped to get done. I actually really wanted this to be a writing vlog, and in some ways I feel like it still kind of is, because it really shows an honest look at how difficult it can be to write and live your life sometimes, and that while writing is important to myself and probably a lot of you who are watching this, it's not the be-all end-all. If writing gets in the way for a vacation or a weekend or a busy work day, that is okay, because we can always start again. I am just today unpacking and catching up on work, but tomorrow morning I'm going to sit down, I'm going to write, adjust my goals slightly because I didn't write while I was on vacation. That's in the past. All I can control is the present, and it's never too late to write. And I never want to use like, oh, I didn't write when I said I was going to, as an excuse to not write in the future. And so I'm really proud of myself for kind of being able to disconnect from that, and also to have just really enjoyed that trip, because writing is a little bit of a stressful hobby if you want to become like a published author. So making sure that you give yourself time to disconnect, to unwind, to tend to your mental health is so important.